morning. And welcome to Unity of Palmyra, where centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. And I certainly felt surrounded by love last week as I needed a sick day. And everybody stepped up, and there was so much love and support heading my way. It felt absolutely wonderful. So thank you so much. I'm going to talk a little bit more about my week during the talk. It was interesting. So we are an open and affirming congregation. We love you just the way you are in all of your magnificent glory. And we're so happy that you're here with us this morning, whether you braved the Arctic temperatures to be here in the sanctuary, or if you are joining us from the warmth of your home on Facebook or YouTube. We're so glad that you're here. If you are new to Unity of Palmyra, either in the building or watching us for the first time, welcome. We're so happy that you're here. If you have any questions about our community or Unity in general, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or any one of the leaders of our community. We would be happy to talk with you and answer any questions that you have. So let's stand and sing and get that warm blood flowing this morning.
'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shall not be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right. 'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we will not be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right.
I love those old traditional hymns. Let's share together in our vision. Centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. And our mission, wherever we are, we provide a welcoming community that inspires and encourages all who gather here through the teaching, sharing, and practice of universal spiritual principles. And one of the ways we practice those principles is to honor wherever you are on your journey, COVID and otherwise. So if you would like a hug, we will bring it on in. If you feel more comfortable with a handshake, just put out your hand and we will respect that. And if you want us to leave you completely alone, we understand. Just stay where you are and we will totally honor your need for some personal space. Have a great time. of announcements. Our prayer chaplains today are Charles Lee, who is in the sanctuary with us, and he will be available after the service on that side of the sanctuary for anyone who would like one-on-one prayer. And also Leslie Burris, our prayer chaplain team leader, is holding space for us and praying for us from home today. Fellowship is on for after the service. Please join us for coffee and goodies downstairs. Hopefully when you came in today, you saw the box full of contribution letters. If you have not yet taken your letter, please take it today. We do have to have them in the mail tomorrow. They have to be postmarked January 31st. So save us some postage and take your letter home. Please do start bringing in your baskets for the basket auction. You can get as creative as you would like to be with this. If you have any questions about that, please see Tammy. Is in the Rose Room on the information table. Okay, great. And this is happiness. I don't know if you saw the kids going downstairs. This morning we are returning as often as we can to in-person Sunday school. So the kids are all excited. They are all safely masked, and I am not going to return to doing the children's chat until it's safe for them to be up here with me unmasked. So, and please help me remember this. We do want to welcome them back at the end of the service for the Unity Blessing like we used to do a million years ago. So if Janie and I forget to sing them in, will you guys wave at us and say, don't forget to sing the kids in? Because we're very excited to do that. It's wonderful to have the little humans back in the building. So, Vicki, would you like to read the daily word?
Today's daily word is world peace. I envision all people living in harmony. Sometimes I wonder about my place in a world that is changing so rapidly. I realize that many of the world's people may be wondering the same thing. Change can feel scary, especially when I feel as though I have to navigate a shifting landscape alone. I expand my awareness and wonder whether others are feeling the way I do. Feeling fearful or insecure can overwhelm feelings of peace. As peace seems further and further away, it's easy to drift into isolation and discord. I pray, reclaiming peace by feeling my divine identity as a child of God. I remember that all people share this divine identity. I include all the world's people in my prayer, envisioning us coming together in harmony to create a peaceful world. And from Hebrews 12:14, pursue peace with everyone and the holiness without which no one will see the Lord.
I am home. My family is here. I feel loved by the ones I hold so dear. And when my family needs me, I promise to be there. And when I need my family, I'm lifted up.
So this is our time of conscious, mindful, thoughtful prayer. And I would like to start out this morning with a prayer of gratitude for Sherry and for Gwen and for Janie and Lisa and the entire worship team for pitch hitting at the very last minute last weekend when my vision cleared enough to watch the service. I think it was Tuesday morning. I was just so incredibly impressed by how beautiful the service was, how seamless the service was, and it made me very happy and very proud of us and of this community and how we do come together and we work together, and no matter who's up here, we are who we are, and we are focused on that vision and on our mission. And so it was a bright spot in an otherwise very interesting week. So that's my prayer of gratitude. So now let's take a nice big deep breath. And if you're in a place where you can safely close your eyes, oh, let's just breathe in together. And take a moment to simply be still. To enjoy the silence. To enjoy the peace that comes with the silence. When we allow the noise of the world and the chatter of our minds to quiet. That quiet in and of itself is healing. And so we quiet our minds. We open our hearts. We connect that energy of the intellect and our feelings. And allow wisdom to come forth. And into that energy, we bring any challenge that we might be facing. And we gently allow the wisdom of Spirit to surround and infuse that challenge, to shed a bright light onto it, to allow us to change our perspective so that the opportunity begins to emerge. The learning begins to emerge. The growth happens. And before we know it, a miracle has occurred. What we saw as a problem is now a blessing. And so I invite you to sit for just a moment with that opportunity. To gently surround whatever is troubling you with the comfort of Spirit. With the energy of possibility. And staying in that same energy of hope, of faith, of love, I invite you to place any joy that you may be feeling right now into this space, any cause for gratitude or celebration. For part of our growth, part of our journey as spiritual beings is begin to see that everything is cause for gratitude. That everything is infused with possibility. And so we take this energy into our week, into whatever we do this week, into whatever we encounter this week. We carry with us infinite potentiality, infinite cause for joy. And so it is. Namaste.
The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. You are beautiful. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are whole. A heavenly day. All the clouds blew away. Got no trouble today. With anyone. The smile on your face. I live only to see. It's enough for me, baby. It's enough for me. Oh, heavenly day, heavenly day, heavenly day. Tomorrow may rain with sorrow. Here's a little time we can borrow. Forget all our troubles in these moments so few. Ah, but right now, the only thing that we really have to do is have ourselves a heavenly day. Lay here and watch the trees sway. Ah, I can't see no other way, no way, no way. Heavenly day, heavenly day, heavenly day. No one at my shoulder bringing me fears. Got no clouds above me bringing me fears. Got nothing to tell you. I've got nothing to say. Just that I'm glad to be here with you on this heavenly, 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 heavenly day. All the troubles
was heavenly. Sorry. So welcome back to our series based on contemplative crochet. You can see there's a new project on the table. Thank you, Sherry. It's a chain of morning glories. And here's why. We're going to start off with Cindy this morning. She says, "My mind is on morning glories. Morning glory vines often find their way into spent summer gardens and an assortment of other sunny yet weedy spots. Once they have taken root, they climb on every crisp brown stalk they can find. They grow like weeds, and because they arrive and proliferate so freely, are often seen and treated as weeds, despite the beauty of their blooms and their practical appeal to hummingbirds, bees, and butterflies. So I was surprised one childhood summer when my mother deliberately put up a trellis next to our house and planted a row of morning glory seeds beneath it. Freed from their randomness of place and position, given their own real estate, and having their climbing needs met, being limited to a line and a lattice, they became flowers. Each little sunshine pistil inside of its own blue sky blossom said, 'Good morning,' from its place of order. The vines were no longer relegated to bent and aging tomato plants as supports. Now blooms met me face to face from high on their tendril-friendly trellis." No, I will not say that 3 times. I could have asked my mother, "Why do you want to plant them here against the side of the house when they seem to grow all over the place? The roses and peonies and hydrangea all know their places. Why give the lowly morning glories this place of honor?" But I didn't ask those questions. I just watched. A lattice, a limit, a foundation is a place from where excess can easily be trimmed. All can be seen, and the clockwork lives of morning glories can instill wonder. It is only now that this image of morning glories limited to a trellis gives tangible form to my understanding of the power of limits. It is only now that I understand that removing the chaos of randomness and instituting order is a form of empowerment. So this morning's chapter and this morning's topic is the power of limits and how empowering our limitations can be. That usually isn't the first thing that pops into our head, is it, when we think about limits? So the first thing that did pop into my head when I read this chapter was how motivating it can be to have a deadline. Does anybody else need a deadline to get stuff done? How many of us have put off completing a project or a goal until we've established a deadline or had a deadline imposed upon us, right? So I have a deadline every week. It's called Sunday. And as last week proved, Sunday happens whether I'm here or not. It's a deadline. So how do we usually meet our deadlines? So I have to get organized. I have to gather what I need to accomplish my goal or to finish my project. Then I have to prioritize and decide that nothing else is as important as getting this done, as meeting this deadline and putting everything else aside. And then I have to focus. I have to focus on completing that deadline. Cindy agrees with all of that. She goes on in this chapter to explain the importance of order, inner and outer order. It's very consistent with the work of Gretchen Rubin, who believes that outer order leads to inner calm. She talks about the importance of prioritizing and of focusing. All of these are critical factors in realizing the power of limits. So I think it goes without saying, I became very aware of that importance last week. So I got attacked by ransomware. It turns out it wasn't just a hack, it was an attack on my personal computer, which had 20 years of my work on it. All of our personal documents, all of our personal finances were on that computer. And yes, we had backed up, but these hackers were particularly skilled at even sabotaging our restore capability. So in addition to that, I also, Friday started to experience some pain in my right eye, and Saturday morning woke up with my eye completely swollen shut. So that 24 hours was, by any stretch of the imagination, challenging. We found out about the hack Friday morning. I woke up incapacitated Saturday morning, and so I had to get organized. I had to create some order out of this chaos, and so the first thing I did was reach out to Sherry and Gwen and say, help. I know it's Saturday and tomorrow's Sunday, but I need you guys to lead the service tomorrow, because there's just no way I'm going to be able to be present and to do that. And they did it beautifully, absolutely beautifully. So I also had to prioritize, because the sty didn't just affect my eye. I had headaches and fatigue and body aches, and I felt sick. And in fact, I felt so bad that I took one of our at-home COVID tests that just came in the mail. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that was negative, because you know that proverbial last straw? That would have been it. So I finally Googled, can a sty make you feel sick? And all of these responses popped up with a resounding yes. Apparently, an infection anywhere in your body can lead to your entire body feeling pretty crummy. So I had to decide, given my extremely low energy and pain level at that point, what was most important, because I was limited. I had to prioritize. I had to focus on my health, on getting better as quickly as I possibly could. So I took my vitamins. I spent an inordinate amount of time on the couch, crocheting, and binging some series that folks had been recommending that I watch for years, and I had never had the time to watch them. By the way, if you've never watched Lucifer on Netflix, oh yeah, there will be sermons from that. I'm about halfway through. Woo! That's interesting. I took a lot of naps, which I don't normally do, and I was incredibly unproductive by my definition of productive. So because the antibiotic ointment had to be applied 3 to 4 times a day, I also couldn't see for most of the day. I was grateful for that, I'm not complaining, but I was very blurry. So I actually had to, again, bring order to my day, prioritize and focus. I could only check my emails a couple of times a day. Toward when it was time to put the next dose in, I had a little bit of vision, and so I would quickly check my emails and respond to anything I needed to do. Definitely prioritizing. Anything I did had to be done in very small doses, which is, for anyone who knows me, which you all do, very atypical of me. So that was a challenge, to recognize that I was limited. And running in the background of the entire week were Ken's incredibly heroic efforts to try to restore my files. So it was only when we got on the FBI site to file the report that we had been told to file that we realized this particular ransomware currently is undecryptable. So we shifted into Plan B, which was to start over from scratch. So as you hear me say this, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, what a terrible week. And yet, it wasn't. It wasn't fun. The pain was not fun. And feeling violated by the ransomware wasn't fun. But through it all, we just kind of shifted into this, what's the next thing we need to do mode. There was a minimum of wailing and gnashing of teeth, and that the minimum was me, not Ken. But more than that, there was just this sense of acceptance and curiosity about what are we going to do about this. And so at first, I was kind of checking in with some friends and some of you guys, and at first I thought, am I in denial about how really bad this is? Like, this is bad. But then I realized that as cumbersome as it's going to be, as Ken is now rebuilding me a new computer and downloading all the software in that I use, and then I will start finding a way to restore things, and I realized, it's going to be cumbersome. It's going to be a pain in the butt. But I also realized that if I really believe what I believe, that there had to be an opportunity in it. And what I realized was that the opportunity was to simplify, to embrace the limits that had been imposed upon us from the outside, and to also embrace the other two aspects of the power of limits that Cindy has identified, and that is silence and simplicity. So here's what she says about that. Here's how she introduces it. She says, order, priority, and focus are three important means of tapping into the power of limits. But there are two other tools we can add to the equation: silence and simplicity. Just as we might tend to think of limits as restrictive rather than empowering, so too might we think of silence and simplicity as subtractions rather than additions. Yet their very limitations have enormous positive value. So I'm going to look at simplicity first. Here's what she says about it. Some think of simplicity only as a form of material denial. Some equate voluntary simplicity with voluntary poverty. We may envision simple living as breaking away from modern appliances and other technological advances. At its best, simplicity is enriching rather than impoverishing, empowering rather than denying. Simplicity is about taking charge of our lives, balancing soul needs of all kinds with material needs, finding the proper proportion for each. For every item we bring into our dwelling places, there are connected factors of organizing, storing, and maintaining those items. Likewise, there is the ever-present question of what we could be doing with the same amount of money, energy, and time we spend on our possessions that might better serve our inner lives, our families, and our communities. Simplicity may involve challenging ourselves to limit the material bulk we live with, but it is also about doing so with purpose. In 1936, Richard Gregg, a student of Gandhi's, published an article called Voluntary Simplicity, in which he wrote, "Voluntary simplicity involves both inner and outer condition. It means singleness of purpose, sincerity and honesty within, as well as avoidance of exterior clutter, of many possessions irrelevant to the chief purpose of life." Do you see how order, priority, and focus just falls so beautifully in here? It means ordering and guiding our energy and our desires, a partial restraint in some directions in order to secure greater abundance of life in other directions. It involves a deliberate organization of life for a purpose. So this week we have embraced simplicity. In looking at what we'd lost, it really became clear what we needed to restore and what we didn't. I realized I didn't need to recreate or try to restore a sermon I wrote 20 years ago. It's gone, and I'm letting it be gone. And I also don't need to find thousands of old emails that I had saved for one reason or another. So in creating order and prioritizing what's most important, we realize that we can simplify how I've worked and release the rest. So 2 interesting side notes, well, interesting for me. So the beginning of January, I got my journal out, and I made a list that was a combination of intentions and to-do. It was, setting some intentions for the month, which I like to do, and some of them were to-dos, but most of them were just kind of putting out there, this is what I'd like to accomplish this month. And when I went back and looked at it, it was either Wednesday or Thursday, I will admit at that point I did have kind of a hysterical laughing fit because one of the items on it was delete emails. That is not lost on me, and so when I make February's list this week, I will be much more specific about what I'm intending. And I also remembered something. My friend Hannah, who I love, when she did the White Stone ceremony this year, the word that she got was release. And like many of us, she's like, Steph, I don't have no idea why I got this word. I thought I've been releasing. I said, honey, just don't fight it. Just go with it. That's what we've learned. And so as she was sitting with the word, all of a sudden she said, do you realize what the last 4 letters of the word release is? It's ease. And so the intention that she's created for her year is whatever releasing she does, she's going to release with ease. And so I thought about that conversation, and it reminded me of one of the teachings from Maria's work from Mastering Life's Energies, is that when we cross that metaphorical border, whenever we're bringing something into physical reality, whenever we're engaging in that act of creation, we hit this, this border of monkey mind and all the reasons we can't do it. And so one of the things that we've learned is in order to cross the border with ease, we take small, sweet steps, we get support, and we celebrate each step. And that's exactly what we've been doing this week. We have been taking small, sweet steps, granted, because we didn't have any choice. We definitely asked for help. I've had a couple of friends already reach out to me, colleagues, who've said, Steph, you've shared your material with people for years. When you're ready, we'll share it back. And so they will be sending me series that I've shared and workshops that I've shared and programs that I've shared. And then talk about a challenge turning into a blessing. About 3 years ago, the printer we had downstairs in my office that was attached to my computer just kind of crumped out. And Ken already had 3 printers up in his office, and so we thought, this is silly, we'll try to network me to your printers, so rather than go get another printer. Well, it never quite worked, and it was like super annoying, and every 4 or 5 months I'd complain about it, but in the meantime, every time I wanted something printed, I would email it to Ken, and I would put black and white or color, and then he would print it for me. So, everything went to him. Graphics went to him, and sermons went to him, and everything that I wanted printed went to him. And I said to him the other day, all that stuff that I've been sending to you for the last couple of years? And he got this big grin on his face. And I said, "Did you by any chance save all of those emails?" And the grin got bigger. And they're all tucked into a folder on Ken's computer. And I said, "I will never complain about how you save everything again." I'm saying that publicly. You guys can hold me to it. So, small, sweet steps, ask for help, celebrate each step. So, did the week slow me down? Absolutely. Totally stopped me in my tracks. And that leads to the final aspect of the power of limits, which is embracing that slowing down and embracing the silence, being willing to get still, being willing to listen to that still small voice within, being willing to discern what is truly important. So Cindy quotes this from a Quaker Book of Wisdom, and then we'll go into meditation. It says, "Silence is as common as the air we breathe. It is a vast pool always available to us, where we can refresh and renew ourselves, or simply stop in for a while. Silence is God's gift to our minds, a gift that modern life seems to have lost or crowded out. We need more silence in our lives, more stillness in our homes. We need, in our increasingly complex and frenetic world, to silence ourselves and to listen." To the guitar. So let's take that into meditation.
Silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there, and in the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved with gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there. Peace is there. Truth is there. God is there.
And so we breathe into the silence. Allowing it to surround us, support us, inform us, comfort us, and reveal to us the power of our limits. In the silence, we can see and hear their lessons, how like the morning glories they can channel and direct and support our growth so that we may bloom. Like the lattice, our limits point us in the right direction. They point us upward and outward. They show us where growth is trying to happen. Where we need to spread our tendrils out of our comfort zone, reaching higher and higher. Just as the structure of our limits encourages us to grow and reach, like the morning glories, it also grounds us in principle, in truth, in the fertility of the earth. We become willing to be empowered by our limitations instead of railing against them. We become grateful for the skin we're in when we see that it defines who we are as physical beings. We become grateful for our outer circumstances when we see that they are forming us, enlightening us, empowering us to stretch and grow where we had not gone before. We recognize that it is only when we embrace our limits that we are able to transcend them. Only when we recognize and embrace our limited ways of thinking and seeing and being that our eyes and our mind and our hearts are open. And we begin to see the possibility within the limits. We embrace the simplicity. We embrace the silence. We embrace our limits.
Silence, your path is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there, peace is there, truth is there. God is there.
So this is yet another opportunity in our service to express gratitude. And this time we express our gratitude for your ongoing giving, your incredible generosity, and your support for the work of this community. It is such important work in the world right now. The world is crying for a positive path, a positive, accepting, loving energy. And that is what we have to offer. So thank you for your gifts. You can give electronically, you can drop a check or cash in the basket in the back of the sanctuary, but whatever you give and whatever form you give it in, please know how incredibly grateful we are.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I them grow, they'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who came to my recital last weekend. That meant the world to me.
Yeah.
And thank you for all your comments on the Facebook page as well.
Yay, it was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, we're going to sing the kids in. Remember how we used to do this? Stand up and sing This Little Light of Mine? Do you remember that from a million years ago? All right, here we go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. So this is the first time you guys have been up here for this, but we're going to bless you. You know the unity blessing that we do at the end?
Yeah.
Yes, the very unshy one up here. Well, we used to always have you kids come up so that we could bless you. And so now that you're back in person, we thought we would do that again. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to rub your hands together like this, and all the grown-ups are going to rub their hands together, and you guys are going to go like this so you can catch the blessing, okay? You ready? Get them up there. All right, together, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in each and every one of you. Yay, we're so happy that you're back. And Cassie asked me this morning, well, when can we start doing the children's chat again? And I said, well, and then she interrupted and said, I know, Fifi, when we're all boosted. So that's what we're shooting for, right? All right, you guys can go back with your grown-ups, and we'll see you soon.
I was like, no, I already know. I teased you. Right?
You did tease me. You did tease me. All right, let's sing the peace song with intention. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Creator. United all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of
God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And wherever God is, all is well.
No matter what. Amen.
Amen.
All right, go forth, have a wonderful week. Embrace your limits. See the possibility. Let them empower you. Bye-bye, Facebook and YouTube land. We love you.
Thank you, dear. Did I flat?